can this English-only brewery, using English-only ingredients, make an elite lager that rivals German and Czech brewing? Today I'm looking at Utopian Brewery. This is their premium lager. It's brewed to the Bavarian Helles style of lager, and they're using all English ingredients. So that's English malts and English hops. So normally when you're brewing a Helles lager from Bavaria, you're using German Pilsner malt, perhaps a little bit of Munich malt, and then most definitely you are using German style noble hops. And that will give you the floral, maybe a bit of herbal hop character. You're getting big bread, sometimes a little bit of honey, malt flavors and aromas. It's a beautiful beer style, one that has stormed around the world. If you can produce an elite level Helles, you are a master brewer. It's very difficult, let alone using ingredients that aren't actually from Germany. So Utopian Brewing are a brewery in England using English only ingredients, and they're trying to make lagers from all different lager styles. They make a Bohemian Pils from Czechia. They're making German lager styles, Vienna lagers, all sorts going on. This is one of their flagship core beers, which is a premium lager, Helles, and they are using, I think, Hanna malt and English hops that are closest to the noble style. So I'm not tried a beer from this brewery yet, and actually the reason why I'm so interested in this is that being a home brewer for like over a decade, I've always dreamed of having my own brewery. One of my ideas of what I would create as a kind of niche or a gap in the market was to try and produce elite beers using English ingredients. Now, I was thinking about English malts, but then maybe perhaps using the right hops, but saying, we're backing the British farmers, a bit like Jeremy Clarkson, in using English malts to produce really great lagers. This brewery went a step further, and they're saying not only are we going to use the British malts, we're going to use the English hops as well. And that's fantastic. And I'm very, very interested to see how they've achieved this, how close it is to your German style Helles, or if it's very unique, if it's got a completely different flavor. I'm expecting it to be really, really close in terms of malt, but maybe the hops are saying something slightly different. Is this a completely new beer style? Can you call it a German Helles if it's got nothing German in it? It's got no German malt and it's got no German hops in it. It's brewed in the same way, but the ingredients are different. So lots of questions, but I am very, very excited. As I said, this is one of my ideas and one of my dreams of having my own brewery was to make proper elite lagers and trying to get in some of those English ingredients. So fair play to Utopian Brewing that they've actually done that. They're living it. And from what I've seen from like the reaction of people in England and elsewhere, these guys are making really great lagers. So I'm expecting a really nice drink, but I'm not sure how close it's going to be to that German Helles style that I really love and I drink a lot of. So there's only one way to find out. Let's see if the English can pull this off and start delivering world-class lagers with their own ingredients. Let me crack this can open, pour it out, and I'll tell you what I think. Right, first off, the first thing that I note, it's not beautifully clear like some Helles you get from Germany. I'm thinking like Augustina or something like that. Those are crazy in terms of clarity, but there might be a good reason for it, and that is because German Pilsner malts are kind of modified and bred over a long time to reduce on the haze, proteins, all that kind of stuff. and that really suits the style. And part of the difficulty of using English ingredients is that English malts have been bred by farmers to suit English ale styles, which is a completely different approach to making barley malt that is good for the lager style and clarity and all of that kind of stuff. So I suspect that they are using Hannah malt, which is derived from an older Czech variety. And Hannah malt has a high protein content, which makes it much more difficult to clear the beer and takes much longer to clear than your kind of elite German Pilsner malts. So this might explain why this beer isn't beautifully clear, but also, I mean, it might just just be what it is. Not all it might be more authentic. They haven't used any kind of clearing agents or anything like that. Maybe they've dry hopped a little bit, or they've late whirlpooled or whatever. Who knows? But in terms of color, yeah, nice light gold color, beautiful head on it, kind of moosey looking, very nice. Give it a sniff. Yeah, so I'm definitely it's very bready in the malt. Smells quite bright. Yeah, the aroma is interesting. There is like that kind of hint of kind of citrusy fruits, but like I don't know if it's citrus, but it maybe it's kind of a hint of that kind of fruitiness. Maybe slightly grassy or kind of hedgerowy. Not getting much in terms of like floral. Like when you smell a German Helles, you either get a kind of a spiciness to it or a kind of really kind of nice floral aroma. Interesting. Let's see how it drinks. Oh yeah. Okay. So it's got the great kind of snap and tang that you expect from that Bavarian style of beer. They really do get that kind of acidic, lower pH that gives you a tang when you're drinking the beers. Makes it super kind of refreshing and kind of crisp. Um, very kind of bready malt bill that's coming through. A little bit of honey, and then on the hop side, spicy. I'm getting that kind of spiciness. Kind of spiciness leading into a kind of earthy undertone, and then yeah, again that kind of not quite a citrus tang, but kind of on the edge of fruitiness. So it's kind of earthy, a little bit spicy, on the edge of fruitiness, as opposed to the German side would be floral, a little bit spicy, herbal, that kind of thing. So difference there in terms of the English hops, but I wouldn't say that it's bad. It does suit a lager. You are getting a nice kind of hop palette mixed together with that kind of breadiness of the malt. It's just slightly different to what I'm used to from drinking a German Helles with German ingredients. So that's quite interesting. But in terms of like, have they made a really great lager? Yes, man. They have made a really great lager. I think if my suspicions are correct and they're using Hannah malt, it is a fantastic malt. It's just it takes a little bit longer to do what you want it to do in terms of like clarity and conditioning. but like it is a fantastic malt to brew with for your lager style in terms of taste and like really big kind of breadiness. If you're decocting it, you get really great kind of toastiness to it, honey, all that kind of stuff. Beautiful, beautiful malt. I think that's what this is. And then yeah, like pairing it with that kind of English, almost it's like they're like the I say this is like the English noble hop. Not sure what it is actually. Don't know if they say. No, they're just saying hops and yeast, but they're talking about British grown malted barley and hops, slow and low temperature fermentation, long cold conditioning. Yeah, I mean that for sure. That the long, low, and slow is exactly what Hannah malt needs to clear up and really condition. If you've, I mean, if you're watching this and you're not a home brewer or you don't know the kind of lager process, especially with a Helles, which is quite a delicate beer. You brew the beer, you ferment it, you cold crash it, and then it goes through this kind of lagering process. And along that process, which can take up to 28 days or longer. So some German breweries are lagering for can lager for months. Some of them, like the really old school traditional ones that they're not about making money. They're just about like making amazing beers locally or whatever. But yeah, usually around like 28 days, especially for a Hannah malt. So, but along that 28 days, it kind of goes through ups and downs. Like when you first taste it, you take a little sneak peek in like week one, it can be really beautiful, but it's kind of a little bit sweeter, more honey on it, that kind of thing. And you think, oh wow, like I've made a really kind of bready, malty beer. And then you taste it a week later and it's gone kind of flat on the malt. The hops are much brighter, but you're like worried it's a little bit more kind of bitter or whatever than you intended. Then you wait another week and it's kind of married together more, but it's not quite there. And then boom, at like 27, 28, 29 days, it's like bang, it transforms into this unbelievably beautiful beer. Um, that's balanced and everything you intended. And that's the conditioning process. So they're doing it low and slow, exactly the traditional way that a Bavarian brewery would do it. So fair play to them. That costs them more money and takes longer. Their turnaround time is much longer. So they are, um, you know, they're making this beer based on process and tradition and doing things properly, which is to their credit because obviously, unless you've got like hundreds of years of Bavarian tradition in your brewery and your processes and your ingredients and your malts and everything like they have in Bavaria, they're kind of set up to succeed by producing beer the proper slow and low way. Whereas elsewhere around the world, lager brewers they cheat, because it's otherwise it's very difficult to make money and also turn around the beers in time. So they've made this hard for themselves, I imagine, Utopian, but it means that they are producing a really great lager that's like properly made, properly traditionally made. Um, and that's coming through in the taste for sure. And then they're using English ingredients, which is a really great shout. It's supporting English farming, English hop growers, and also kind of giving the English palate a lager to be proud of. I mean, yeah, it's great drinking German beers and German lagers and Czech beers and blah blah blah. That's fantastic. I'm all for it. And also brewers producing those kind of styles with imported ingredients. Why not? Everyone wants to drink it. Everyone loves to taste this kind of thing. Locally made, blah blah blah. But there's definitely a place for this in terms of English ingredients, English hops, but made in a proper German way. which gives a beer experience that you just can't get in Germany. You cannot go to southern Bavaria and get English hops in your beer, and it's a different taste. It's yeah, it is different to your kind of floral herbal notes, that's, you know, herbal spiciness that you're getting in Bavaria. This is more earthy, which has its place for me for sure. I think that what they're doing at Utopian is pretty damn good. Yeah, and as it's warmed up in my hand, more honey notes are coming through. Those hops are kind of merging more into the malt flavor, so that the kind of earthiness is dampening down a bit as it's warmed up, and it's tasting like a, you know, like a proper Helles. Really impressive. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah. So I'm drinking this with about 10 days left on its best by. So this was produced back in June. So I mean, it's been in a can. I don't know what the you know, the cold kind of cold chain has been like. So I imagine fresh from the tank in Utopian, this is unbelievably good. I imagine, you know, people, the locals, when this opened up, when they first had a sip of beer made like this, they were wowed. And they are in Devon. So fair play to the locals of Devon. They've got themselves an absolute beaut of a brewery producing um, elite lagers. I can say that for sure. They are producing elite lagers and something different, something to be proud of as you know, as an English person. We can be up there with the best lagers around the world in terms of using local ingredients, which is really great. Yeah, I like it, man. I like it. I'm really interested to see how their Czech pills is. That's I'm sure. I think I've got. I'm very interested to see how their other lagers are performing. You know, each lager has its own kind of style and flavors, etc. Hellas is quite a like a delicate style. Um, you know, you're using one or two malts and some really kind of light hop additions, bit of bittering, maybe a late boil addition, and perhaps a whirlpool if you're making kind of a more modern take on a Helles. But everything is kind of quite light and hints of and blah blah blah, and it makes for a really kind of refreshing beer style. Whereas your Czech lager is a little bit more bombastic. It's a little bit hoppier, a little bit more bitter, um, more going on in the malts in terms of like a triple decoction. So yeah, very interesting to see how that performs with all English ingredients. But certainly this, this is a great Helles. It's not a Helles in terms of what I know a Helles to be in terms of those hop flavors, but for sure the malt side is as good, and that's because I think they're using Hannah, and that is almost as tasty or you know, as performative as those German malts. It's just that it suffers a bit from a higher protein content, which requires a little bit more kind of conditioning to get it to sit right in a Helles style. But yeah, that would have been my go-to malt if I was brewing an all English Helles. I would have chosen Hannah as my malt for sure. So that's what this tastes like, uh, and they've nailed it, I think, and well worth a try. So I got this from the malt miller. their indie beer fridge. They have a bunch of different Utopian beers in there, but I'm sure you can get it directly from the brewery. I just happen to be ordering from the malt miller at my homebrew ingredients. So yeah, man, Utopian Premium Lager, well worth a purchase, well worth a drink. And I imagine if you go to their tap room in Devon, it's very fresh, very crisp. You get a crispy boy straight from a tank, I imagine, and it's beautiful and slightly different to what you will have experienced from real proper Bavarian breweries. So there's that added kind of uniqueness, which is great, and you get to support English growers and English farmers, which during this tough time in the UK is also a great thing to do. Um, I think Clarkson is trying to do that with the malts, but his Hawkstone Lager is still using the German hops. So they've got a step further as saying, so back British farming with malts and the hops, and they've proved that you can do it and you can produce a decent beer with it. So on that note, cheers.